All right, Mr. Chair, it is now 5:30. If we're ready to begin the meeting.
Very good. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, quorum. Welcome to the Ward Three Neighborhood Advisory Board meeting on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Let's get this meeting in order and let's please do the roll call.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Ilya Arbitman, absent at this time. Gabriel Maya,
Here.
thank you. Marie Rodriguez, present. Thank you. Zachary Bolton,
Present.
thank you. Jarrett Singh, absent at this time. Shonda Golden. Mr. Chair, Council Liaison, Miguel Martinez, absent at this time, and Staff Liaison, present, Abigail Mayorga. Mr. Chair, you do have a quorum of the Ward Three Neighborhood Advisory Board meeting.
Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and move to item A2 for public comment.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Our first item today is public comment. Members of the public may hear, observe, and provide public comment virtually by registering through the following link, which can be found on the reno.gov/meetings website. The link is as follows: https://lino.gov/RENO.RE1KB It should be noted for members of the public that comments heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the NAB's agenda. The NAB may not take action upon any matter not agendized on today's agenda. When you are called on for public comment, please state your name for the record and begin speaking. The timer will begin when you say your name and you will be afforded 3 minutes. If you are an attendee in the Zoom meeting and would like to make public comment, please raise your hand at this time. And then, Mr. Chair, we do not have any registered in-person public comment. If you would like to give public comment online, please use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and I'll give you a second to do so. And seeing none, Mr. Chair.
Very good. At this time, we have no public comment, so let's proceed to item 8.3, approval of the agenda for November 5th, 2024.
Rodriguez, for the record, I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Zach Bolton for the record. I motion to approve.
All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Very good. So let's go ahead and review item A4, approval of the minutes for August 6th, 2024.
Marie Rodriguez, for the record, I've reviewed the minutes and don't find any corrections, so I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Zach Bolton, second that.
Very good. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those who oppose? Motion carries. All right, so let's go to the next item, to item A5, council liaison report.
Yes, Councilmember Martinez wasn't able to be here today, but he sends his thank you to you all for being here and making sure that the items get heard. So he will be here hopefully next month.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much for that. What about for A6, staff liaison report?
Also, no updates at this time. I'm just thankful for you guys being here and hopefully we get out of here.
Very good. So thank you for that. Let's go ahead and continue with the agenda. So let's go ahead and discuss item B1.
Yes. Do we have a representative for B1, the Arrowleaf Apartments zoning?
Go ahead.
Hello. How are you? And I'll pull up your presentation right now. Yes, it should. Oh, give me 1 second to make sure I'm going to take over the mouse to display the settings to the Zoom participants. All right, you should be able to take control.
My name is Mike Daniels. I am one of the partners in Arrowleaf, which is the developer on this. I'm the president of 1085 Group, which is the design entity for this project. And I'm vice president of Pacific West Builders, who is the general contractor who will build this project if it gets approved. Airleaf Apartments is, am I running that? How do I?
No, give me
switch?
1 second. I want
Oh,
to make
sorry.
sure, it looks like the Zoom isn't tracking the presentation, so give me 1 second. Oh. What was this? Mm. Okay, I think we should be good.
Where's the menu to switch pages?
There you are.
So Airleaf on Harvard is a 168 unit affordable workforce housing project. It's located on Harvard Way between Vassar and Mill Street. It's located kind of behind the GMC car dealerships on Kitsky Lane to the east. Airleaf is a project that will help the ongoing need for affordable housing in the Reno area, providing 168 affordable workforce apartments on 5.18 undeveloped acres. What happened? What happened to the page flipper? There it is. Okay, that'd be great. Project's set up so that it will have units for 40% AMI to 70% AMI. That's average real medium income for the Reno area. 11 of the units will be set up for 40%. The remaining will be split up between 50 and 70%. Right? This slide shows you where the project's located. As I indicated, it's east of or west of 580 between Vassar and Mill Street on Hubbard Way. The project is on both sides of Hubbard Way. There's 3 buildings on the west side, 1 building on the east side. Go ahead. This project, it's a great location. It's got convenient access to shopping parks, medical facilities, social services, and other businesses. Go ahead. It's also located within walking distance of Roger Corbett Elementary School, Vaughn Middle School, and Worcester High School. Vaughn Middle School didn't get shown up on that slide. It's on the west side of Kitsky Lane, just due west of the project. Go ahead. This gives you kind of a breakdown of the project. There's 168 apartments. There's 6 buildings, which include a clubhouse and a maintenance building, 32.43 units per acre, 179 parking spaces are required. We're providing 231. Landscape far exceeds what's required by code. We're requesting a zone change in a conditional use permit. The property was originally subdivided in 1957, and it set parcels aside for 2 roadways, Iona Drive and Wooster Drive, and then parcels in between. Somehow between 1957 and now, it's a split zone piece of property. There's general commercial zoning on it and multifamily zoning, MF30. What we're requesting is the MF30 zone be rezoned to general commercial so that we can redo the site with a regular survey and create 1 parcel that's all zoned the same. The reason that we're going to the GC is because the 30 units per acre is the maximum density that you can have in MF30. In the GC zone, it's really unlimited. So, and we're at 32.43 units per acre. There's also a couple other things as far as height issues with the 5-story, and I'll get into that in a minute. Go ahead. These are the breakdowns on the unit types and the unit square footages. These, and this is an affordable project, but it's we're a little bit smaller on unit size than a normal market rate study. I mean, Pacific West, we built over, I got to think, close to 5,000 units in this area. And we're still building. And we've gotten out of the affordable for a while and we want to get back into it. Prices have just gone crazy. Rents have gone crazy. And there are a lot of people out there that need this type of housing. So we're trying to make it as close to a market rate project as we can and be able to build it, you know, with the money that we've got available. So the units are really close, within 10% of what you would see in a market rate project. And the buildings are beautiful. We'll get to those in a minute. And, you know, it's got all the amenities that you would see in a market rate project with a big clubhouse. It's actually the same clubhouse that we're going to build up on Mount Rose Highway, on a project we've got up there. And, you know, the pool, spa, barbecue pits, tot lot and everything else. So go ahead. This is the bird's eye view of the project. The road, you kind of see the road that's off to the right there. That's Harvard Way. There are 2 3-story buildings and 2 5-story buildings, and clubhouse, pool, covered parking, pretty much everything you'd see in a standard project. The 5-story buildings are elevated. All the exterior buildings will be stucco, different types of finishes. They're really a good looking building, and we'll get into some elevations here in a minute. It's a 4,377 foot clubhouse. Like I say, there is a tot lot. Go to the next slide. You can see the kind of the community area where you've got the clubhouse, you've got the pool, you've got the tot lot, and then scattered throughout, there are 3 barbecue areas. And it's what you would normally see in a standard market rate project. Next project or next film. Parking, like I mentioned, there are 231 off-street parking. We far exceed what's required by code. I've been in this business for a long time, and the last thing you want to do is underpark a project. This doesn't include the parking that is available along Harvard Way. Go ahead. This just goes in, there's monument-sized entry signs. The typical stuff that you would see in a normal project. Site lighting will all be shielded so it doesn't bother the neighbors to the south. Go ahead. Project size. Okay. This kind of give you a quick idea what's on the property and what's surrounding it. Right now, go to the next slide. So this is the first view to the upper left is a view of the site looking to the northwest, kind of towards the back parking lot of the GMC dealership. There is one old building it's a dilapidated building that we'll tear down. The second photo on this page is looking to the southwest. You can see the existing apartments in the background. Next slide. The first project is looking to the southeast. And again, you've got some existing apartments in the background of that one. And then the last shot there to the right is the climbing center. And again, you're looking to the northeast. This is the last photo, and it's off Miami Way, which is a road that comes off Kitsky Lane looking due east. The master plan is suburban mixed use, which allows the use that we're proposing. And all of the property in that general area is SMU. As I mentioned before, 3.22 acres of the property is currently zoned general commercial. And there's 1.96 acres of multifamily, which is part of this application to be rezoned. Go ahead. This gives you a general, just a site view of the project and the surrounding uses. This is a shot of the master plan and the surrounding uses. You can see everything around, as well as the property that we're talking about is suburban mixed use. Next. This is the map that shows the zoning. As you can see, everything around it is general commercial. The small piece that you can see, the 2 yellow, green areas are MF30, and that's what we're requesting to be rezoned. This will become one property on the west, and there will be the piece on the east. But right now, I think the west parcel is subdivided into about 8 or 9 parcels. Next. this shows that. You know, you can see on the upper left-hand side of the different APNs and how it was subdivided. And like I say, that was done in 1957. Somebody had a vision that never went anywhere. But anyway, next up. And this is the piece that is on the east side of Harvard, and it's currently zoned general commercial. Go ahead. These are goals. I mean, we can get in and talk to them if you want. I don't want to take a whole bunch of your time. I'd kind of rather show you next couple of photos or kind of what the project's going to look like. On the trip generation, on the traffic, this project doesn't even meet thresholds to require any kind of traffic study or anything else. It's under the city's threshold for requiring a full traffic study. So we weren't required to do one. The total ADT is shown there. You got your PM and your AM and PM peaks, which are relatively low. Next shot. Next shot. Next shot. Keep going until you get some pictures. These are just all findings. Okay, this is the floor plan of the clubhouse, and like I indicated, this is the identical clubhouse that we use on our high-end market rate projects. It's got a fitness center, it's got a club center, it's got a pet spa, it's got everything that you would see in a standard market rate clubhouse. They're very nice. Next shot. This is an elevation of what it looks like. These are the building floor plans, and I know you're not going to get into see a lot of detail on these. Like I said, there are two buildings. There's a 3-story and a 5-story. This is the ground floor plan of the 3-story. Next one. And then the second floor and the 3rd floor. The next shot, go ahead. This is what the elevations of these buildings will look like. Very similar to the market rate stuff that you see, the brand new stuff that you see getting built. They've got a breezeway that accesses half the building on one side and half the building on the other side with 2 breezeways going into it. Next shot. And these are just photos of or renderings of what the project will look like. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. This is the 5-story floor plan, a little different. 2 breezeways that go into a corridor, centralized elevator. Given a lot of, we built a lot of these. I don't like the enclosed corridors where and this is a small enough building where you can get away with it, both from an access standpoint and a code requirement. But that interior corridor is really open. So it works well. Go ahead. And then the 2nd through 5th floor are all identical. Go ahead. And this is what the 5-story unit will look like. Now, I know a lot of people go, well, why are you going to go 5-story? But it fits into this area. It looks good. But the problem is that we're trying to build an affordable project. And you look over the stuff next door to the south and it's 2-story. Well, back then when those were built, probably in the 70s or 80s, that land probably cost $20,000 to $30,000 an acre. This land, we're paying $1 million an acre for. So you've got to get your density up as high as you can. If I was to go 2-story on all the buildings, it just wouldn't work. The code allows me to go 5-story. It works. It looks good. We've done a lot of architectural in and outs and moving and stuff to make this thing look good. And so we think it fits, and hopefully everybody else that's got to approve this thing does. Go ahead, next slide. These are just, again, pictures of what the 5-story would look like. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. And then we have a small maintenance building that incorporates a pet spa in it and a few little things, but it's primarily to house all the stuff that's required for the maintenance on the property. It's just an idea of with the landscape plan. Again, pretty standard code requirement as far as that goes. That's it. That, I'll close it. Be happy to answer any questions you got. Any. At the appropriate time, I guess.
I have a question, Shonda Golden for the record. And it's not really about why you came here, but I'm just curious do you work with any government agencies to get the residents in based on their income? Because that's what this is, or is it up to your leasing agents?
You know, honestly, and I don't know if you guys are, my partner who's the expert in the affordable side was supposed to be on the Zoom. I don't know if that's here or not. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on to get these projects approved and especially funded. There's Robert Lawler. He can probably answer that question for you. I mean, we have to go through bond financing, through tax credits with both state and government. It's a long profile or long list of things we have to go to get these things financed. Bob, are you there?
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, can you answer that question with regards to how the management company or how the city or the government goes through trying to find people that qualify for these type of units?
Yeah, well, we're using tax exempt bond financing and as our debt source, our loan source, and the federal low income housing tax credit program as our source, our equity source. And those programs do come with occupancy restrictions where tenants have to they cannot make more than a certain amount of money to qualify to live in the complex. And we don't work. What we do is we mostly do rely on our property management company, which is an unaffiliated company called Boulevard Residential. They're experienced in affordable housing management in the area, in the Reno market. And they will ultimately reach out to the housing authority, and the housing authority of Reno always has a wait list for people looking for affordable housing. So they refer us to their wait list. They also Boulevard, meaning I mean the management company, also has a marketing. They have an expertise in marketing to lower income households. I can't tell you exactly who they reach out to, but it's mostly the management company's responsibility to rent to qualified households. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, Bob, what is your opinion on the need for housing such as this in the Reno market?
Well, our rents are going to be between 10 and 50% below market. So there's a very strong demand for it. We've got it's 168 units, and we should be able to lease and occupy this within 4 months.
Maria Rodriguez for the record. If I'm understanding correctly, then this housing isn't going to be exactly like Section 8 housing. It's going to be more like a moderate income housing where people do definitely have to have an income to be able to pay their rent, but it's going to be that they can't have there's a limited maximum amount that they can have so that they can show the need for a lower cost of housing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. It's not what you would think of as public housing or Section 8. It's a privately owned complex. We have house rules where we can evict people if they don't pay their rent, for one thing. But if they're bad actors, we can evict them without as long as there's cause. To give you an idea of how much the income band is, so on the low end, a family of 4 can make $40,000 and qualify, and on the high end, a family of 4 can make $70,000 and qualify to live in these apartments. Like I said, this is privately owned, and they do have a minimum amount of rent that they have to pay. And like I said, it's below market, but it's a must pay obligation on the part of the tenants.
And to follow up on that, what utilities does the tenant is responsible for and what's covered by the property?
The tenant, well, the electric is individually metered, so the tenant will pay for electricity. We're debating whether or not to bill back for the gas. And then the property will pay water, sewer, and trash.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Zach Bolton for the record. I'm in favor of projects like these. I think they're very needed. My only concern is it's so close to Wooster that I think you're gonna cause a lot of traffic issues. I know you're not required to do a traffic study, but that's my concern.
Yeah, it's, well, you gotta go across Vassar. I don't know how many people come out of Worcester High School and go down Harvard Way to get wherever they're going. But I would think that, you know, people coming out of Worcester High School are gonna hit Vassar that are heading north, hit Vassar and head out in that direction. I don't think they're gonna come down Harvard. But, you know, I'm not an expert in traffic either. It's the traffic generated by this. I think the maximum AM peak was 77 trips or something. And I would think that'll, you know, they're gonna scatter too. A lot of them are gonna head north, some few of them are gonna head south and come down Vassar, but I don't think it's tremendous.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate it.
Marie Rodriguez for the record again, sorry. I am curious about the limited parking because given that most of the units are 2 and 3 bedroom, I'm thinking you're going to have families in those units. Typically, families have more than one car. This doesn't even allow for 1.5 cars for the tenants. That's going to be a lot of parking on the street. And unfortunately, given the situation of crime in Reno right now, a lot of the cars that parked on streets are subject to vehicle burglaries and destruction of property. Is there any possibility that you could consider increasing the parking available for the guests? Because that doesn't even allow for like
It's 1.3.
the guests and people, you know,
1.3,
visiting.
and the majority of the units are 1 and 2 bedroom. I think it's 40-40-10 or 40-40-20.
Yeah, it's
so-
52 or 1 bedroom. So, but even that, you might have couples. And 90 and 26 are 2 bedroom and 3 bedroom. That's 116, which are potentially families.
Mhm.
And only including 231 spaces, allowing for 2 cars for just 1.5 of the units would be 252, and that's not even what you're allowing. I would just like to see more parking because I know I work for Reno PD, the problem with street parking with things like this, it's a problem.
The code requirement, city code, is 1 space per unit. So it would only really require 168 spaces. So let's go past that. I agree with you that that's way under parked. The other thing is this is low income. A lot of people in low income housing can't afford 2 cars. So you're gonna get a break there on what you would see in a market rate project. The other thing is what we were required to put in 50 bicycle parking spaces, which are scattered out throughout the site. And the other option is, I mean, the parking on Mill Street is there, it's available. You know, you may not think that it's safe or that, you know, but I don't know. The people park all over the place on public streets. I mean, I just did, so. But anyway, we far exceed the code requirement for the parking. So, and like I say, it is an affordable project. And I don't think there's gonna be a lot of people living in that project that have 2 cars, so.
Well, I respectfully can tell you that I've seen a lot of the apartment complexes that we have, and because unfortunately it is our code, we do have a lot of street parking that becomes a problem.
Most of the projects that we do, there is no street
Yeah.
parking. I mean, all your stuff has to be off-site parking. And, you know, we try to keep it about, around 1.8. But now we do have street parking. We have a whole bunch of bike parking and it is affordable. So you start playing all that into an equation and it, because we don't want a project that's underparked. I mean, people aren't gonna live there. So.
Thank you.
Give a reminder for the record, given that the north side of the lot that's where the dealership is at, has there been any concerns about the possible noise and inconvenience that could bring to the units?
On the north side of the property, there's the stuff on the east side of Harvard, there's a climbing gym. That shouldn't be a problem. And then on the west side, on the north side, there's actually an office building or some type of building that like a little industrial building there. That's the back of the building and all the parking and everything else on that is on the east side of that building. The small section, there is a small section and it's like overflow parking for the GMC dealership where they park new cars or cars getting worked on and stuff like that. No, I don't see a problem, but it's not going to be an issue with regards to noise.
Okay, and another quick question. On the 5-story buildings, I do understand there is gonna be elevators. What about for the 2-story? I mean, for the 2-3-story?
No.
No? Okay. Okay, that answers my question. Go ahead.
Well, that kind of brings up a question. Are the bottom floor, the first floor apartments accessible then?
First floor are accessible. And then on the elevated building, all of the units in the building have to be accessible because there's an elevator too.
Very good. Any other questions from the quorum? No?
Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Great. And Mr. Chair, to clarify, this was item B1 and B2 as they are the same project, just different requests. So we will be moving on to item B3, the Reno Housing Authority Carville Drive project.
All right, thank you so much.
And thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Good evening. You guys hear me okay? These are new microphones for me, so I just want to make sure. I'm Stacy Huggins with Wood Rogers, and I think while you're pulling up my presentation, does the clicker work or no?
It should, give me 1 second. We were having some issues.
So I'm here on behalf of the Reno Housing Authority. And so as soon as my presentation works, I'll show you my quick presentation. I have a very short presentation for you. Let me try.
Give it a try. Nope, I can click for you.
Does the mouse work? No? Okay, sorry, Abigail, it'll have to be you.
No, sorry.
So this project includes before you tonight for your consideration, 2 elements. We are asking for a master plan amendment from mixed neighborhood to multifamily neighborhood. And then concurrently, we're asking for a zone change from multifamily residential 14, MF 14 to multifamily residential 30 units per acre. Next slide, please. So just so that you have some idea where this is, this project consists of 4 parcels directly east of the fairgrounds facility on Sutro. So the fairgrounds are between Sutro and Wells. So this property is directly east of that on the corner of Carville and Sutro Street. You can see it highlighted there on both maps. Next slide, please. It's a little less than an acre in size when you look at all 4 parcels combined together. There is an existing RTC bus stop on Sutro right in front of the southerly, southwesterly parcel there. Next slide, please. The parcel to the north, in terms of this project area, is developed with an apartment project currently. It includes 44 units, which comes out to 26 units to the acre. Next. To the south of these subject sites, the property is zoned specific plan, SPD. Within that SPD, there are 192 dwelling units, and that project is developed at 43 units to the acre. And the relevancy of that is that Again, we're looking to change the zoning on these parcels to try to get to a max of 30 units to the acre. So for comparison, we're 26 to the north, 26 units to the acre to the north, and 43 units to the acre to the south. So we're looking for no more than 30 units on these 4 parcels. Next slide, please. So this is just a comparison of the existing master plan on the left and the proposed master plan designation on the right. Again, the property is currently master planned mixed neighborhood. Most, the primary uses within that mixed neighborhood would be single family detached with smaller multifamily. Those zoning or parcels are usually developed somewhere between 8 and 14 units to the acre. And they're typically within walking distance of transit. Looking at the multifamily neighborhood, which is what we're asking to go to for the master plan, the primary uses per the Reno master plan is multifamily, traditional multifamily, with single family attached as your secondary use. You're typically looking at projects that are higher density, between 14 units to the acre and 30 units to the acre. And when you look at the master plan, these multifamily neighborhood designations are typically adjacent to bus rapid transit opportunities. As I mentioned earlier, there is a bus stop existing on Sutro Street. Next slide, please. So to go along with the request for the master plan amendment, we're asking again to go to multifamily 30. So MF 30 would allow us to go up to 30 units to the acre. If you looked at redevelopment of those 4 parcels, that would allow, just by the base zoning, 23 units on all 4 of those parcels. If we were looking at the MF 14, the current zoning designation, we would be restricted to 11 units on all 4 parcels. So you can see there's a significant opportunity for redevelopment of these parcels for the housing authority in this area. Next slide, please. I just kind of talked about that. The image on the left is the proposed master plan. Again, that's multifamily, would be the master plan designation, which conforms with the zoning of multifamily residential 30. I talked about the bus stop and the number of units that we could get on there. One thing I just want to note, so when we first started looking at this with the housing authority, we looked at the 3 parcels that are contiguous, the 2 long parcels and the parcel that runs perpendicular to those on the top. If we were to redevelop those 3 parcels by themselves, we could fit 11 units on those. That 11 units, based on the size of those parcels, comes in at 29 units to the acre. So that's why we're asking for MF 30 as opposed to one of the other zoning designations. So we want to try to maximize the density of this project and bring some more affordable units to the market. And so that's why we're asking for the MF 30 zoning. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to talk just really quick about some next steps. So we're here tonight in front of you all for your feedback on this project. We are hosting a neighborhood meeting on site next week. Postcards have gone out to property owners within 750 feet of the site. We are planning to go to Planning Commission in December, and then we'll have to go to City Council twice. We're hoping to do that in January, and then we'll have to go to Truckee Meadows Regional Planning Commission for conformance review after we get through all those hearings. Next slide, please. I am available for any questions. If you need information or you want to access the project application, the link is there on the slide. Thank you. Any questions for me?
I have a question. I'm Shonda Golden for the record. Thank you for your presentation.
Sure.
What are the size of these units? Did I miss that?
You did not, because we haven't actually put together a site plan yet. We've
Okay.
kind of explored some options, like how many units could we fit? What could be our maximum density? We needed to do that in order to kind of understand, can we make it work at MF 14? Or, if we were going to maximize the density on these projects, what would that look like? But we don't have a site plan yet. We don't actually have a project. We just know if we were doing, 11 units, it would get us to just below that 30 units to the acre. So you didn't miss it. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You remind for the record, that was kind of my concern too, like, well, what's the layout, what's the plan to do with this area? But so right now, currently, you guys, on that same lot, those on those 4 parcels, there are homes right now right there, and to my understanding, there's only, how many homes are there at the moment?
Abigail, could you go back to maybe, there's an aerial in there, I think? There, right there, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, so they're all of the parcels are developed with residential units. Right now, one of those buildings is uninhabitable. The building to the very north is uninhabitable. So it would have to be demolished anyway, so that people could live in it. The 2 units to the south have residents in them, and if and when a new development project would come forward, those buildings would be demoed and those tenants in those units would be placed in another housing authority facility.
So this property, it is housing authority currently.
All 4 parcels are owned by the housing authority.
Okay, may I ask why the north properties unhabitable?
I'm not sure. It's just discussions have suggested that it's not livable right now, and I haven't been inside of it, but it's not livable right now.
Okay. So basically, what the first step right now is just try to get the zoning changed to make it to MF30. And then for once that gets changed, then you guys will be providing the site, how it will be laid out and everything else after the fact?
Yes.
Okay,
We want to make sure we get, we want to know that we have what our zoning is before we really put together a site plan.
Maria Rodriguez for the record. So are these the type of buildings that are sort of like duplexes or those type
Yes.
of units? So essentially what you're wanting to do is get rid of the duplex setup for housing and change it more to like apartment.
Correct.
Okay, that's
We can put more-
basically bottom line is what we're trying to do.
Correct.
Okay.
And we can actually put more people then in those locations.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
kind of going back to the other project that we just saw earlier this evening. Parking, how is that area as it is standing right now? Is it okay with parking as far as for what's being used for, or are we already seeing challenges moving forward?
So I don't know about if they have experienced challenges, but if you look at that aerial, you can see on the parcels that face Carville, there are a handful of pull-in parking spaces on the 2 long parcels. So there are pull-in spaces for those that are accommodating for those units. And then on the corner parcel, there's actually a parking lot where people can park in those that accommodate the tenants that live in those facilities.
Okay.
When we come forward with a project, we will have to provide parking within our project. I think similar to the last conversation you had, and again, we're not in a design phase yet, but the housing authority knows who their tenants are and how they need to occupy these spaces. I would anticipate 2 things. One, we know there's a bus very close by that residents of these future units will likely use, which decreases the demand for parking spaces. We will provide parking based on code, but I would anticipate not a lot of extra parking just given the size of this site.
Very good. Any other questions from the quorum? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Alrighty, well, we have seen all the projects for tonight. Is there anything on item C? Board commission committee member reports or announcements to be made at this time? No, okay. How about for item number D, letter D, sorry, future agenda items? Is there anything for coming up that we should be aware of?
For future agenda items, I know we will have some updates for the board, especially coming the new year. Hopefully some more in-depth NAB training and just updates after today. So very exciting things happening. And we'll have RPD, RFD, and a couple other things. So that's all I have.
I'd just like to remind everyone to thank our veterans next Monday on Veterans Day.
Absolutely. All right, this time we wanted to open up, public comment. Is there any comments in the public that would like to be shared with the NAB members at this time?
Mr. Chair, we have not received any in-person public comment and seeing none at the time via Zoom.
Thank you very much. So let's go ahead and adjourn this, meeting. So yeah, we would like to second the adjournment.
I'll second that we adjourn.
All right, did everybody, all agree? Aye?
Aye.
Anything else? Motion carries. Let's go. Thank you so
guys.
much.